Did he freeze? I think Rob froze. Waiting for him to do the intro. We're live. Rob frozen. This is a great face to face. I'm David Cole. That is Rob Howden right there, frozen. This is a unique start to this. I'm not sure exactly what's going on right now. So we might have to drop him and see if he can come back. This is a great start though. Welcome to Face to Face. I'm David Cole. Next to me is Rob Howden. Hopefully he'll come in. He is shocked. He is a shocked Rob, Jason. That is perfect. If you can screen capture that, that is amazing. Looking at Rob, that's kind of how he felt with his whole, Hall of Fame induction into the Superkarts USA Hall of Fame. So that's kind of the same look we got there with his frozen self there. Not quite sure what's happening, so we'll try and get Rob on here and get going. But yeah, it's good. So it's just me. It was going to be me. Then Rob came in, said, yep, I can make it. We're in. But today's show is going to be about ROK Cup USA, as we're going to have Mike Burrell, the new director of operations. Rob just messaged me his internet dropped. That's pretty much a given. So he'll try and come in. Andy Saisman wants to fill in. He just messaged me. That might be a good show. We get the Mike Burrell side of things and the Andy Saisman side of things. So while we wait for Rob to get his internet working, I might as well just bring in Mike right now. So while I'm trying to produce and do this, here we go. And there's Mike. Mike, thank you for joining us here on Face to Face.
Hey, thanks, David.
This is kind of unique. Rob's not here. He was here and he was gone. We've never had that freeze right when we're about to begin the show. So that kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
That's all right. We can handle it.
So the big news going into the Super Nationals was the naming of you becoming the director of operations for ROK Cup USA. Garrett Potter stepping away and moving away from that position, and you're coming in to fill that role. Kind of walk us through a little bit of how that kind of unfolded for you and ROK Cup USA.
I think Garrett had told them earlier in the year that he was looking to stay home more with the family and everything. And when Luis and I go way back to like 2006, and when he was an MG and I was at National Kart News, and we went down to the Granja and Brazil and hit it off real well. And we've always kept in touch, and he just asked if I was interested. And, first I was like, well, I don't know. And, we talked 2 or 3 more times and made it all work out. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, let's get a little bit into your history, because there's probably some people who don't, aside from those mostly on the East Coast, that know who you are or who ever read a National Karting News magazine, because that magazine's been gone now for almost a decade?
2011, I think.
Yeah, so year. It's been a while. You're a lifelong karter. You've been in the sport pretty much a long time. Where did you get your start in the sport?
It's kind of funny. I was in high school, and I was invited over to Scott Goodyear's hospitality thing, and I asked him, like, how do you start in just being a race driver stuff? He's like, well, you get a go-kart. And so they used to have this paper here in Indy called The Trader, and you find used stuff in it, used cars, go-karts, whatever, motorcycles. So the next day I bought one of those. I took it back over to Scott's hospitality and said, okay, well, help me pick one out here. And he said, well, this one, it's probably only his second year at Indy, so he's real approachable and everything. It's like, he always has been. But he's like, well, this one looks pretty good. So I went out and bought it.
Where did you start racing at? Because was it Whiteland?
Yeah, Whiteland. Which is doing a huge expansion right now. It's going to be awesome facility. It's always been very cool, very historic. I think Al Unser Jr. is first place he raced on pavement. It might have been Michael Andretti's first place he raced, period. There's tons of history at that track. Mm-hmm. And so started off down there, racing every Saturday night. You could go, your entry fee was $5. It was incredible back then.
Yes. And that's kind of similar to what club racing is trying to stay with is that more affordable type atmosphere and being able to go and do that. What led you into the journalism side of the sport and hooking up with National Kart News?
I was just I'd been working in IndyCar, and that was during the split in jobs were sometimes hard to find.
Okay.
And Kurt Paluzzi, the editor of National Kart News, had an ad in there for writers wanted. I was like, well, this would be cool. I've always liked writing, so I submitted a story on the Folks brothers, Randy and Rick.
Yeah.
Went down Daytona with Randy, and did a story on them, and Kurt liked it and offered me the job. So, yeah.
That's crazy, because it's ironic that Rob, who
Mhm.
worked for National Kart News, you essentially had the same. You guys had the same position.
Yeah.
You kind of gone in two different paths. He's continued in the journalism side. You've also done the industry side of the sport as well too. You've been a dealer. You've been a kart shop owner as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Had a kart shop for a few years, and was with OTK, so Tony Kart. So brought a lot of that up here to the Midwest. At that time, there wasn't much going on with green karts up here. Get involved with some others in the industry and everything, and then worked with Joe Janowski at NK, writing a lot of rules for a lot of rules for his dirt stuff. Just kind of making it legal format and all the non-fun stuff with that, and working on the insurance side some. So really learned a lot about the race stuff from Joe, and the race promoting, and then with the insurance side, thinking 3 steps ahead, to thinking backwards from I'm going to be in court for this to how to set it up safer or better for the karter. So and outside of karting, worked IndyCar forever, still spot for Colton Herta.
Right.
So at the 500. So that's always a lot of fun going up.
So we have racer, we have journalist, we have a industry member working with rule books, but you're also worked as a promoter as well too. So you have a lot of insight into temporary events, even working at built racetracks as well too. So tell us a little bit about the background with that.
Yeah, we 2010, Tony George Jr. and I are pretty good friends, and he said, "Hey, let's talk about doing a go-kart race in Indy." Like, well, heck yeah! I mean, everybody wants to do that,
right?
And we got together, talked about it. Had some other people involved in conversations, and then 2011, when Dan Weldon got killed, it put the brakes on that a lot. And Dan was, such a powerful force in karting, and at that time, and IndyCar, and I knew him from both.
Right.
He'd come out of the garage in Newcastle and hang out, and I was on his crew his rookie year at Indy. So, and then, he had a lot of close mutual friends with the Wheelers and the Marini and all that group. So that really put the brakes on it for a while. And then about 2016, Tony calls back and says, "Hey, we're looking at doing this again." And cool. And made it happen with USAC as kind of the sanctioning for it. Kind of being just neutral. We don't have an agenda. We just want to put on a cool race here.
Right.
And at the same time, the mayor in Elkhart was like, "Hey, I'd like to bring back the Elkhart Grand Prix." So put together a business plan that didn't cost the city much money. And, said, "Here, we can raise some sponsorship. You guys are 80% of the world's RVs are made in your county. So
right.
Let's raise some sponsorship and make this event happen." So, and just because it was cool, I had a real job, and that I enjoyed, and it was just a side thing that was cool and fun to do. So, and the Indy event was huge. You guys came down to that.
Yeah, the Indy event. I mean, that's all we hear about. Once a week, I think we get a message. "Hey, have you heard anything about the Brickyard?" Let's just put that to bed right now. Where is your position right now with USAC? Is it no more? Kind of talk about where their future is in terms of what you know.
What I know is Jason Burgess will head up Elkhart Grand Prix. They should have they have a date. They're working on an announcement this week. So Jason's going to run that. He's more than capable. He did most of the work anyway, probably last year. He's just so passionate about karting, and I've known him, good 15, 20 years also. He karted around here locally and loves the street races and things. So Jason's going to run all that. As for the Brickyard, it's always there. It's not going anywhere. It's just getting all the moving pieces in order with the new ownership, and COVID hurt. We did the race in 2020, which probably hurt us more than it helped us.
Right.
But because there was nothing else going on, but yeah, we're always talking, and it's always a possibility.
So are you still having a relationship with USAC, just not
absolutely.
officially?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're half mile from my house.
Exactly.
So I'm over there a lot. If nobody's ever been to their headquarters, it actually has a bar in the first floor.
Exactly
cool.
what you were, your background last time you were on.
I know. I'm home now, but they have that, and it's just good group of people in racing, and you get so many different perspectives. You sit down and talk to the sprint car guys, and it's like, hey, we've been doing this at our races, and this seems to work. And they're Porsche series guys and SRO. They sanction SRO, and we've seen these guys come up from karting, and they've told us the karting does this, and it's like, we do this and that in karting, and oh well, that might work here, so we're gonna. So it's just always good to drop in places like that and get everybody's perspective from around different aspects of the sport.
And that's a great word to use for my next question is perspective. What is it that you're going to bring from, USAC and all the other stuff that you've done in your career to ROK Cup USA? Is it going to be kind of like a sit back and kind of see how things unfold, because it's kind of been dropped in your lap? 2023 is just around the corner. Is it kind of just let things kind of go, kind of work yourself into maybe making some changes, or what is your perspective going into this position?
It's going to be this Florida Winter Tour coming up will probably be a lot of the same. I mean, they had a great operations staff. Robbie and Ursula and Chuck Yoder, everybody there that I've seen has done an incredible job at their events. So the first thing I told Luis was, I don't want to make any changes. I mean, you guys on the operations side are good. You're solid. So I told all that staff that too. I was like, hey, everybody's welcome back. You guys do an excellent job from everything I've seen. And, I think the phrase I used was, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We just got to keep polishing it. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, if we can see something to make it a little better for the racer or for the event, we're going to do that. And then just kind of, go from there and get through Florida Winter Tour, and we'll sit down and then we'll talk about, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and what's the long term. How can we make this more fun first and keep it affordable, safe? It's kind of my three big things are safety, affordability, and fun. And safety always has to be first. The other two can kind of jockey back and forth. So.
And the challenge is the first event's a temporary circuit, so right away it's about safety. I know, but that's obviously the first thing. Like as you said, you don't want to change things up. Are you guys going? You don't have to give too much information if you don't want to, but are you guys going with like a similar layout? Is you kind of just what they've done before there, and as you said, polishing it and making it a little bit better?
Yeah, it'll probably be pretty similar. We're gonna go down there second week in December now and check everything out. I'm hoping to get Robbie to come over and help with that, and we'll kind of do what Rick Folks and I always done. He was my race director for USAC stuff. We'll just walk around and be like, oh, maybe we need to shift the track here a little bit for this bump, or this is kind of a long straightaway. Maybe we need to break this up, or same thing. But I mean, probably the plan is almost status quo right now. Let's run almost like we did in 2022. Make sure everything's good. And just came back from visiting the new Piquet track yesterday. So
that was going to be my next question. That something new for the Florida Winter Tour is the Piquet race park. You just visited there. Kind of give us a little bit of feedback into that new facility and what people can expect from going there.
It's moving forward quickly. Luis lives, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes from there. So he's out there often. And he says, every time I come, whatever they said was going to be done is done. And they've still got work to do, and they're working. They have 20 plus people there every day working on the facility. And I think it'll be done. It's cool layout. I mean, they got 20 some different layouts they could do. I took a rental card out, and it's like, okay, well, we could do this. It reminded me a lot of Ocala,
Okay.
the layout, just kind of for everybody that's ever raced at Ocala. And talk about a track we all miss. I always enjoyed going there.
Probably a little bit more turns than Ocala, right?
Possibly. I mean,
Okay.
the way they got it, you could almost run an oval down there. Dude, so
Well, there we go.
We're not going to do that. Let's put
Well, you just love spotting so much. You want to be a spotter for the weekend, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll just stand up there and out of reach, and yep, you're clear.
Exactly. Well, let's continue on with 2023. In the past, we've always had the Rock Fest events. We've had a West Coast, we've had an East Coast. Is that still a plan going forward in 2023?
Yeah, for sure. I've talked to Marco out in New York, and talked to Andy and Steve Cameron out on the West Coast, and we're gonna sit down and move forward with those. And I think they're good ideas, and see how we can grow them, and how we as ROK can support them more to make those events grow. Whether it's a little deeper prize package, or do something to help attract the racers to those, and then kind of build those as the funnel into Vegas.
Okay.
And, there's a lot of potential up at Marco's track in New York, with Mosport across the border,
right,
and other tracks up there, and just kind of bring that whole maybe like a border war series or something together. So it could be cool. There could be a lot of cool things happen with that, I hope.
Well, one of the questions, because we're kind of talking national racing right now, is ROK looking at doing more national racing in 2023, or is it just going to be kind of what it's been? Or is your focus long-term possibly looking at building more club-based ROK Cup USA programs?
Yes, both probably. 2023 will probably be very much like 2022. Just I got a lot to learn. A lot to learn from our people, our dealers, our everybody, and see what direction they want it to go. So 2023 will probably look a lot like 2022. Then we'll have a really good plan moving forward. Of course, club racing. I think the VLR is a great package for the club level stuff. The ROK shifter, some of the shifter guys I talked to tell me that's probably the best shifter package out there right now. So there's two good platforms we can push down at the club level. And as far as the national thing, it'd be really nice to see it form into a true national series, but we also have plenty of those. So if we just do cool events like Florida Winter Tour and the Rock Fest in Vegas, that's all right too.
Okay. You said ROK Vegas. That was kind of going to be my next question.
And I'm leading you good.
You are. You're doing a great job at it. Obviously, with the Formula One event going on in Las Vegas in November, kind of throws a big ratchet at everybody in karting in terms of our two biggest races of the year. Can you kind of give us some insight into how the planning is going for 2023 in terms of ROK Vegas?
We should just get Formula One and all their billions of dollars to subsidize both Supernats and ROK Vegas, and make it free for the racers, and we can just be the attraction to do when the F1 is down.
Yeah, I mean, at what, 6 figures for a ticket? Well, why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could just rent us the Rio, and we could bracket the Formula One race.
Well, you don't even need $1 million to do that, do you?
No, I don't.
It's close. Anyway,
we'll settle for two.
We did hear they're talking about renovations at the Rio. That was a big talk while we were there.
Yeah, they had signs everywhere about renovating the place and everything. So I mean, we've talked a little bit. I know Garrett had actually started that conversation, and I think it would be in best interest of all of us, ROK and SCUSA, to talk and work it out that we move around it so we don't affect the karter, and we don't affect those two great events.
Yeah.
So whether we had to move a week or two earlier, or no problem.
Yeah. So those definite details will probably be announced later in 2023. I assume that.
Yeah, hopefully sooner than later.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got some calls in out there, and we're talking already. So
Good. That's good to
yeah,
hear. So yeah, again, looking long term, the kind of we've worked with Andy Saisman a lot with the Challenge in America, so we've kind of seen him start with the ROK program and see it build up to record numbers for his program. Obviously, the 25th year of the Florida Winter Tour is going to be super huge, but is long term wise, I would continue to say it, me and Rob all the time, is you have to start at the club level. What
absolutely.
is there maybe like 1 or 2 points that you think, aside, you already said the engine packages in terms of VLR and the rock shifter programs, is that just it, just getting the product into the clubs and getting it there and racing and then just seeing where the numbers grow from there? Is that kind of the outset or the mindset going forward?
It's probably the starting point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have engines, you got to have customers before you can figure out where they're going to fall in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting to get a system in place to say, yeah, you're ready for the next level, other than just here, come in her. So, I know that's being talked about, and could be a good thing. But it's always got to be a little bit up to the racer, a little bit up to the club, and so often a unique situation. Racer talent and budget commitments.
Talking about the Challenge in Americas, they're looking at doing the Tillotson carburetor. Is that something that you've been educated about? Is that something that ROK Cup USA is looking to do across the country? Are you kind of still learning about that for the mini engine?
Mini, yeah. No, that's going to happen. That's going to happen
Okay.
across the country. I've already had a couple calls with OTK Italy about that and everything. Let's see, there's already a stock of the Tillotons for the ROK motors in Orlando. The manifold's getting homologated and everything, and as soon as they're hot off the lathe or the mill, whatever,
off the press, just say off the press.
Yeah, off the press. Yeah, there you go. However they're made, they're going to be DHL shipping them over to OTK USA in Orlando, and we'll start to get them out to the customers in kind of a priority order. So I know that's been a question on the internet. I've told people, hey, I'll get back to you. I'm getting the facts on that daily right now.
Daily.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah, our goal with that is to get it implemented maybe by Florida Winter Tour 2. It's early with the holidays and everything. Maybe by 3. We're not going to do it shotgun where it's just like go back, change carburetors.
Right.
We want to give people time, at least between the races, maybe even at the races, to test. So we might end up allowing both carburetors to be run on the practice test day, and then if there's plenty of supply and everything's going good, say okay, switch. But yeah, that's a national thing with the ROK.
Yes, yeah,
they will be switching carburetors.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. As you said, no better way to test it than race weekend. If you have some customers that are willing to provide that data and gives that head to head
on the practice day. No, we're not going
exactly. Not race day. Yeah, exactly. On a non-official day, it makes perfect sense to do that. Yeah. I think that was the only questions. Oh, one other. Are kids going to be allowed to run micro and mini ROK next season? What is the justification behind this? That was a question we had. So I guess in the past,
to find that out.
In the past there were, because of the age overlaps, I think drivers were doing both categories, and I think that's the question.
I imagine it was originally designed the overlap, so a kid that's really good but young can move up, or a kid that just started and is at that border age can stay down. I'm checking with insurance on this too, because I know there has been some insurance rules that didn't allow you to come back down if you've completed races up at a higher class. So you know, I got a lot of people to check with on that one and get
Okay.
that figured out. So, you know, I'm I don't know on that.
Yeah,
We're still
and
waiting
that's
for the
it's
info
an
on that one.
interesting. It's like you said. It's they do it because, like you said, some drivers aren't able to move that up that gap or up that next level, so they stay down an extra year. Or drivers, like you said, are advanced enough they can move up 1 year
Yeah.
early. So it just has that overlap, and it personally
The
to me,
average guy, the
personally
average
for
guy thinks he
me,
has to run both.
yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I mean, you
No,
move up, you moved up. You don't
right.
go back. At least in the series that you're competing in. If you want to stay down at another series that has a completely different set of rules, I think that's fine. But in the big term picture of everything, that's why we need national licensing system, right? I mean, let the USAC guy out of you come out with that, right?
Yeah, that would help. I mean,
Well, I mean, true. Like
for sure.
if you've moved up at one program, that means you moved up across the country.
It would for sure. I mean, that would for sure put an end to that.
Makes things
And
easier,
I hate people that feel like they're going to go cherry pick.
right?
You you know, it's just like, you know, that's not the idea of this. The idea is to make, you know, run against the best people. And if you're ready, you do it and you move up. And yeah, you might struggle for a year and it might be a blow to your ego, but you know, next year you're going to be stronger. So, you know, I don't like that idea of
Yeah.
cherry picking.
Well,
So,
but I also like the guy who's like maybe been fifth or sixth all year long, and if he's got another year to stay back and develop and be a
yeah,
race leader or a race winner, that's always the other option as
absolutely.
well too. So,
Yeah,
all right. So I
yeah,
think we pretty much covered all the different topics, ideas, but we have to address what you're wearing right now because obviously I'm a football guy. You're wearing Purdue.
yeah,
I'm a Michigan
right.
guy. I didn't get the
Purdue
memo that
guy.
we are going to go football attire here this weekend. So
That's right.
give me some insight on the Purdue. You said Rob mentioned it before air, the spoiler makers.
The spoiler makers. Yeah, they like to kill number two teams. So you might be in trouble there.
But I asked you off air. I said, "Who should I watch for?" And you said, "We suck." So
Yeah,
which is it?
we're horrible. You
Okay.
never know what Purdue team's going to show up. So,
And Drew
um,
Brees, he just got struck by lightning. If you're watching on Twitter, so he's not
oh,
going to be able
whatever.
to come back and play, right?
He still got a COVID year, doesn't he?
There you go. Maybe he does. Maybe he
Yeah.
does. So,
No, I have no idea. I mean, you know, if Purdue's defense shows up, they're decent.
yeah.
You know, I don't think they got much of a running game. They only got one really good receiver. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So it'll be an interesting game tomorrow. I expect. I mean, what the line's 14, so I would expect us to win by at least 15.
no, I think it'd be less than that.
Even though we blew out Ohio State at Ohio State.
I don't know.
I mean, I will give you this. You guys have home court or home field advantage. You're playing in Indianapolis, so it does help you there.
It helps. It's only 60 miles away. So, but you know what? They only had that 2,000 student tickets or something like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for each school.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah,
you know,
Michigan fans bought theirs like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Purdue fans are buying theirs off Ohio State and Iowa fans, and they're walking out. So
a lot of scalping going on the weekend, right?
Oh, that's a good thing. That's just legal here in Indiana. You can scalp tickets.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered everything. Any other final words about the new position and just the outlook for what is a new and interesting role for you moving forward in the karting industry?
No, I'm just excited about it. It's going to be a bit of a challenge getting up to speed in about 2 months or less on everything, and then but it'll be fine. We got a good group. With me. Robbie, Ursula, Chuck. Everybody. I could go down the whole list. A lot of people I haven't met yet, but a lot of people I know the names, and it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that name and never heard anything bad about them. So we're gonna keep a lot of the stuff status quo, get through winter tour here, and then see what kind of good ideas we can, grow it and move forward. And I always like Bill Wright's motto at winter tour: "There's serious fun." So,
it's coming back.
we'll take serious, but the fun's got to be a big part of it too.
There you go. And that, again, that's, I think, looking from the outside in, that's something that you've always stressed about. That's what you did at the Battle of Brickyard, Elkhart Grand Prix, and everything else you've done. I mean, hell, you fielded a team with Will Power and Simon Pagino for RoboPong. I mean, what more fun is that, right?
That was awesome. That was a great story how that came about. I actually thought it was a prank call because, Will's Australian accent's pretty easy to do. And, if you're good at that kind of stuff, and I answer the phone and say, "Hey, Mike, this is Will Power." I'm like, "Yeah, right. Who is this?" No. And he starts explaining how he got my number and everything. And he's like, "Yeah." And this was Tuesday before the RoboPong practice really started, or maybe it's Monday.
What year? Anyway, what year was this? 2010. 2010.
So, yeah. Simon, I think, had won the ALMS championship that year.
Yep.
And Will and him were good friends. And, Will said, "Oh, yeah, I want to put together a RoboPong team. And, for me and Simon Pagino." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And Will came by and, I'm like, "Well, okay, I got a Tony kart, we got a Leopard." And he's like, "Well, Simon's got a kart mini that DeFerrin gave him and a Rotax." Okay, well, we can work with that too. So I think over that weekend we had all 4 possible combinations tried
on the racetrack.
Yeah. Those guys were like, "Okay, well, I like this chassis." And Simon says, "Hey, I feel like I ought to run this kart mini because Jill gave it to me." Okay, well, what's Will think? Will likes the Tony kart. I say, so we ended up with a kart mini with a Leopard. So we ended up with my engine on Simon's kart.
Yeah.
And Will, it's kind of a preview of things to come. It's kind of neat. We're standing there watching Simon run, and Will says, "That's the only guy that scares me if he ever gets a good IndyCar ride." And sure enough, they end up teammates at Penske a few years later. And Simon just had an awesome year in like 2019. Even the year before that, he won the championship or so.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just so much fun to work with. And Simon, he comes in with this little page or 2 of notes every morning with like 6-point font. The brake pedals, ½ inch too far. All this real detail going down to lunch. I'm like, "Simon, why don't you get in there at Newcastle? I don't have anything to do at lunch." "I know. I just didn't like that salad, so I didn't want to get it again." And they were just awesome. I mean, it was so professional. So, just brought me to another level. It's like, wow, you look at the data, and Simon's like, "I brake too hard. I brake too late versus Will.
Yeah,
I'll fix that." And sure enough, then the next session, after showing Simon the data, you put the lines on top of each other, and they're the exact same. I know those two. I mean, it's just such a high level.
It is. It's unique. Yeah, it's unique to watch them work in the karting realm. Seeing Will Power at the Super Nationals a couple weeks ago, and seeing him at GoPro, and just the methodicalness of him and the way he's approaching the karting. I mean, it's what separates the professionals from the amateurs, such as myself or Rob Howden.
Yeah, it does. We all think we're like these big professionals, and then you get to work with guys like that, and it's like, oh yeah, we're way down here somewhere.
We're down there. Exactly.
But, they were fun, and I mean, talk about an incredible learning experience for myself and the couple guys helping, on the carts that weekend and everything. It's just, really next level. So.
All right, I guess we let him in now that he got his internet working. Let's see what he's got to say.
You guys did a great job.
Oh, thanks.
That's one of the best shows I've ever had.
Yeah, exactly. Watching and typing from your phone all the entire time, right?
Fantastic. You guys did a great job. Very informative.
Yeah. I think you got the wrong mic working, but that's a different story.
Whatever. Right now, maybe it's not working. That's fine. We'll take what we got right now.
Any final questions for Mike before we call the show?
No, I think it was good, man. It's pretty much what I was hoping to get and understand. Obviously, Mike, I think the big thing is I will say that everybody kind of needs to give you a little bit of a little breathing room, because
I'd appreciate that.
I know people on top of you, right? It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. You're in this deal. You got your feet wet, man. You're gonna have to dive deep into this thing, and it's gonna be a lot. I don't say a lot of work, but I know you're excited about it. But man, you're gonna be drinking water out of a fire hose for the next 3 months.
That's all right. I've been planning on that, and I keep telling myself this is get through March and everything will be good.
I think what you said when we had talked before too, Mike, you said that you have such a great, the ROK Cup USA has such a great staff already. The operating team is fantastic, right? So you can kind of let them do what they do. Andy Saisman does that all the time, right? We'll go to a racetrack, he'll get things set up, and then Friday afternoon he sits back and says, "Okay, I hired you guys, do your job."
Right, and that's what we got to do better in karting. I mean, I got to be the promoter, the guy, shaking the hands and putting out little fires and trying to keep everybody happy. And those guys got to make the race happen. And Rick Folks and I always did a good job with that at Brickyard and eKart. Is it's like, okay, well, that side of the track's his. I don't. There were people come to me and say like, this happened in that race, and I'm like, man, I didn't get to see the race.
I didn't see it.
I'm back here.
Not my job.
I'm back here making sure the porta pots are clean or something, or functioning. But
Mike, I would think too for you, obviously with the operations being so good with what they already have, and you coming from USAC, for you, it's going to be talking to all the customers, right? Like you said, you're going to be on the phone with all the dealers. You're going to talk to every ROK customer that's around. You got to immerse yourself in the ROK product and the ROK brand and the ROK people, right? The community itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a whole division of a big, huge company, and ultimately we're all accountable to them. So I got to keep OTK side happy and keep the customer side happy, and just kind of bridge that gap and be the guy that, okay, you need this from OTK. Let me see what I can do to make that happen. So just be the ambassador, I guess, the middleman.
That's it.
Yeah.
I hate
all
that term.
Right, David, you're the quarterback here. I'm going to sit back for more.
Oh yeah. You're gonna sit. Yeah, that's what happens when you go race super nationals and you think you're all that because you finished 19th instead of 21st where you should have finished. That's exactly what happens.
Wow.
But, Mike, thank you for joining us on Face to Face, and we're excited to see what happens in 2023 and beyond for ROK Cup USA.
Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it, and welcome to come out anytime.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, we definitely will for sure. All right. Let's drop him, and we'll do a little closing segment. Now that you're actually on the show, I had to do the whole opening. It caught me out. I'm literally staring at you, waiting for you to say, "Hey, eKarting Nation," and you don't move. And I think you froze again. This is perfect. This is a great way to end the show. Rob is frozen up again. Just an amazing show. This is a happy Friday, definitely. Smiling just like that and excited to be on another face-to-face episode here on eKartingNews.com. So again, thank you, Mike Burrell, for joining us, and thank you, Rob Howden, for freezing up the entire show. I am David Cole, eKarting Nation, for joining us. Until next show, thank you very much.